Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wiregrass Haunts. I am your host, Mr. Stan Fikes, and I am gracious enough to have my co-host tonight, Miss Mary Quirion. Miss Mary just got out of the hospital. Mary, I hope you don't mind me telling everybody that.
No, that's fine.
But we are so blessed to have her with us. I was really, really worried about Miss Mary. So are you feeling better, Mary?
I am feeling better. I'm beginning to feel like I'm the mole in the whack-a-mole game. Because every time I stick my head up, bam,
Pop you on top of the head.
bam.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah,
I
that's
think
interesting.
it all has to do with, my haunted beginnings and everything. Um, I think it's more of a spiritual attack than a physical attack, but that's my own opinion.
Right. Well, of course, the spiritual attack like that will affect your body. I mean, it just all around um, affects everything. So,
Hmm.
or at least I believe that. Um, I want to tell everybody tonight we have a very, very special show. We have a very, very special guest, Miss Andrea Perron. Um, she was the oldest daughter in the Conjuring, and this young lady has told her story, and we are going to get into it tonight. Um, it really is an eye opener. I've done a lot of reading on this young lady, and she is very, very special. And I want to invite any and everybody to come to the chat room and ask any question you want. You can even go to my Facebook Messenger and send me a question if you want. Um, we are going to talk a lot about Miss Andrea and get into the Conjuring itself and talk some about the real Bathsheba, and which may have turned out to be a victim of in her own right. So we'll get more to that when we bring Miss Andrea on. I want to thank everybody for listening to the Web Radio Network, to Wiregrass Haunts, to Mary and I. It's really, really special to us. We're trying to make a difference in this field. And, we've got great people backing us. Another radio show, Mysteries Explained, which they also have a podcast on our network. And they have a live show on their network, which is the Mysteries Explained network on Spreaker as well. So I encourage everybody to go over and listen to that. They are special, special people, and they back us up a lot. So, Mary, do you have any news that you need to get out there?
No, no news. I'm just thinking how important it is in this field to get the truth out, and education.
Yes.
It's so important. And I know Becky and Will, that's a main goal of theirs, as with us. So, yeah, that's all I need to say.
Yes, they've created a Facebook page called the Paranormal Roundtable. And I think they created that in hopes that paranormal groups like mine and several other legitimate groups that are out there for the right reason want them to come in and put their 2 cents in, so to speak, to see what we can do to make this paranormal field better, kind of take it back, as Becky would say.
Right.
And getting the information out there that needs to be out there, the information that misleads people, we need to straighten that out. And I think some of that we're going to go over tonight with Miss Andrea. Things are going to be straightened, and we're going to have a great show. So, Mary, are you ready to bring in Andrea?
I am so ready. I've been so excited for this since you first
I
told
have.
me.
Yeah, I've thought about this show every day since I talked to Andrea on Messenger, and I'm so excited. So, without further ado, everybody, I would like to introduce Miss Andrea Perron. Andrea, are you there?
I sure am. Thank you so much for inviting me. Stan, I get a lot of interview requests. And unfortunately, I cannot accept all of them because then I would be doing nothing but interviews. So I'm very selective about, who I bring on right away. And you have such a good reputation in the field. And what you and Mary are doing does make a difference. I want to assure you of that. So as soon as I got a message from you, I was like, oh, yeah, I know about him. Okay, yes. And it's really my pleasure and my privilege to join you and your listeners tonight. I know you have quite a following, which means there are a lot of people in the field that are in it for the right reasons, that are serious about this work. This isn't all fun and games. It's there are dangerous elements to paranormal investigation, because there are cosmic forces at play and dark forces at play in the universe. And anybody that's been involved in this for any length of time is aware of that. But unfortunately, in the last decade or so, there's just been a plethora of new paranormal investigative groups that come up with a snazzy name, and before the ink is dry on their new T-shirts, their black T-shirts, they're proclaiming themselves to be, the world's leading paranormal investigators, and they've watched a few TV shows, and that's all they know. And they go into people's homes and they make matters worse.
Exactly.
And that's, and I know that this is an ongoing an issue in the field. In fact, when my co-writer on In a Flicker and my co-host on our radio show, A World Awakening, George Lopez, addressed this a number of times on our own radio show, because we wanted people to really think in terms of this as well, let me put it to you this way. There is no accepted science in the world today that didn't begin as what we would now refer to as pseudoscience, which means that it was unproved. The theorems and the hypotheses had yet to accumulate enough evidence to prove the theories. Well, we're in the process of doing that right now in this field. And so, even though our work is very, fleeting and esoteric and, something could happen in 2 seconds and you could write a book about it, it's that mesmerizing. It is also a conundrum because we're dealing with, for the most part, invisible forces. And so the more people know, the more they can open themselves up to that part of themselves that is the gadget, that's the gizmo. Instead of going out on a field trip to a haunted location with, a spirit box in one hand and an obelisk in the other, and, all these gadgets hanging out of you. Use your own intuition, use your own insight, use your own human ability to intuit the forces that are around us, which are, for all intents and purposes, living in another realm. We're the ones that screw it up with this whole notion that death is somehow final. Death is actually, based on my own observations, the beginning of another life. And there are some that move on, and then there are some that, for whatever reason, seem to remain behind and linger as earthbound spirits until they find their release. Nor do I think that it is necessarily our job to go into people's homes and, quote unquote, clear or cleanse their home. If there are spirits in that home, then chances are it was their house first. And there needs to be some element of reverence and respect for the dead in the work that we do. So that said, before we even get into any of that, because I now know that we've got 2 hours and maybe even more if we need it, I'm going to I'm going to give you a living, breathing, personified example of living in the light. Okay? I tell people that all the time. They say to me all the time, "Oh my God, you've seen such dark things in your life and you've been through such horrible things. How do you stay so upbeat? How do you stay so happy? How do you stay so optimistic?" And my answer is always, I choose to live in the light. Because it is a choice that we all make every single day, whether we are cognizant or conscious of it or not. So let me tell you what my day was like. If I might, if I could, before we leap into questions.
Yes, ma'am. You go right ahead.
Okay. I am in the process right now of publishing my 5th book in 10 years. And it's about extraterrestrials and engagement with extraterrestrials, what I refer to as the galactic family. It is the source of all my inspiration and my passion in life. It's my research in this field. Even though people perceive me to be the ghost lady, it's, that's actually rather one-dimensional compared to what I really do. And so over the last 5 months or so, I wrote a volume that I'm very proud of and that is deeply personal to me. And so I am right now meticulously going through each section of the proof of my manuscript as my publisher sends it to me, which is really, I enjoy it, don't get me wrong, but it is very tedious. It's very time consuming. And you have to be really focused and have an incredible eye for detail, because if you miss it, it's going into print that way. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I've just been, I'll just say it, I'm neurotic about making sure that my work is perfect before I put it out into the world. That said, we put it up for pre-order. My publisher put it up on Amazon for pre-order on 11/11/11, which was the Lionsgate. And I had turned in my manuscript and they had everything. And so I was very excited that my work was done, all my revisions and my edits and my this and my that went into what was supposed to be a 200-page book turned into a 470-page book.
Wow.
So you can, I've been working at this for a while, really to the exclusion of all else, which I'll explain later. So anyway, totally into this, was up at 5:30 this morning after going to bed at 2:30, and right back to work on the proof, and line by line, word by word, paragraph by paragraph, page by page, I'm going through it. I take a break around 10 o'clock this morning because I always throw something up on Facebook on my personal page, on my fan page, which is the Buttercup Brigade, on my book pages, and a Flickr, A Wonder to Behold, House of Darkness, House of Light. I try to, stay engaged with, I have so many thousands of followers on Facebook. It's my job to stay engaged with them. And, but it's also my pleasure to do so. So when I need a break,